The first question, I guess the rather fundamental question is film photography, particularly as a hobby and pro market, coming back? And 2017 was a big year for film. We had Ilford in the UK expand their film production. Kodak brought back a couple classic film chemistries. Though just like vinyl, it's difficult to tease out the market opportunity. However, similar to vinyl, you could take a look at the suppliers of the medium, film in this case, and get a sense for their expectations. The next logical question is, what do people shooting analog do to process their film today? Obviously, many send their film to a lab, and there's many online services, and most metros have a few labs around. Though there are no photo huts, and the equipment that even the bigger labs are using to process film is getting quite old. So wait times are a big issue with labs, not to mention cost. For those developing at home, often they'll use a daylight developing tank like this. This is what I use. And chemistry like this. And it isn't so bad. However, doing these at home, while not particularly difficult, does rely a lot on consistency, and that's hard to do at home and certainly not convenient. These guys make the most popular semi-automated developer, and I've tried it. However, it really only gets you halfway there, and it's really bulky for what it does, what little it does really. What I've come up with is a more compact modular architecture that I think it would be put into a benchtop appliance, and it would have a user experience similar to a high-end coffee maker. And I looked at a ton of off-the-shelf enclosures, and nothing really felt right. And then I did some costing of 1-inch thick aluminum and figured that a machine case could actually be reasonably economical to produce while giving it mass and value and a certain premiumness. Here's the pop puddles for scale. And part of what makes this potentially more viable is what I think are some clever simplifications we could do to allow the use of a single high flow rate pump for moving chemistry from any reservoir to the developer tank and back again. And I found that further simplification by doing current sensing of the pump draw, the load on the pump, I can reliably detect when fluid arrives at the pump and starts to come through, and that can be used to calibrate the priming routine, allowing for more precise metering of fluid. The controls of this prototype would consist of a 3.5-inch IPS screen with one rotary push knob that I've recessed into the upper metal case. And this version only has 3 reservoirs, just kind of as a minimum viable product. I thought that was enough, as that would be suitable for fully automatic black and white film development or semi-automation of color film development. A 5 reservoir version would allow full automatic processing of both. And there's a lot of variations on this. With this kind of design concept, it would be possible to integrate the reservoirs. Originally, I expected to make these removable so that you could store the chemistry in your fridge and pop them back in the machine. That's probably still the right answer. But there are a lot of chemistries out there that are single shot, single-use chemistries that might make sense. And in those cases, you can either go the full extreme and go like a K-cup, like you would use for coffee makers, although you'd want it to be sized significantly different, as this will kill people, I think. Certainly wouldn't be good for you. And you could actually just put in the capsules into the machine, and then they would mix in real time or on demand as it goes into the developing tank. And that could be kind of interesting. You wouldn't need to have reservoirs full of chemistry laying around. You'd basically have these cups that would become empty, and you'd throw them away. What you'd get at the end would just be basically a bottle of waste fluid. Maybe the less aggressive interpretation of that is you could also just buy the standard chemistries you get today, but rather than relying on users to mix them, we could have an algorithm that basically pulls the solution out, has a user put a water bottle in on where the developer tank would normally go, and then it will pull in the right amount of water to dilute out the chemistry. So that could kind of be like another semi-automation, make things more consistent and more convenient. Although I'm kind of intrigued by the K-cup idea, or the idea of having a disposable system and maybe getting a film company that would actually package their stuff and something like that. It's a little too blue sky. For a minimum viable product, I think the essential thing is to work with the existing ecosystem and not necessarily try to build any dependencies, especially since even if this was to become a commercial product, it would almost certainly, especially in this form, be a boutique product, something that you would sell tens and hundreds of, and if you got to thousands, then you would, significantly re-architect it and redesign it and maybe incorporate some of these other ideas. Anyway, I hope this gives you a sense for what I'm thinking. Talk to you later.